What's going on, guys? Styx here with the Token Minorities, bringing you week 2 of the VPL NU League, and this week we are up against WMAR and his Miami Infernapes. And before I get into the team, just a reminder that if you guys like this video or found it helpful, please leave a like, drop a comment, click that subscribe button. It helps us out a ton and lets us do more cool stuff for you guys. Now, as for week 2, we were able to, well, I guess going back to week 1, we are currently 1-0 with a team that I really like, and this is the first time I believe I am bringing Delphox, who was my first overall pick and easily my first pick for Z-Mons, so this should be a very interesting week. Now, WMAR is one of my worst matchups in the league. Now, I'll just be honest, like, I really like my team, but just the makeup of WMAR's team is very much like kind of... Basically, it can apply a ton of pressure to me and can put me in situations where I'm just in very bad spots. So it's just a matter of how well we are able to handle his pressure. And at the same time, my team pressures him incredibly hard as well. So it's just a matter of who can assert their pressure first, who can keep theirs going, and who can lose the least amount of Pokemon in the process of applying that pressure. So that is going to be the ultimate goal of this team. His team is Whimsicott, which is a Z-Mon, or one of his Z-Mons, Incineroar, Feraligatr, Mesprit, Skuntank, Dodrio, Muck, Archeops, Tauros, and Hariyama, and then Archeops and Dodrio are his other Z-Mons as well. And the first thing I'm noticing is that I have a single flying resist on my team, being Electivire, who is not a defensive Pokemon by any stretch of the imagination, and he has 2 of the most powerful flying types in the entire NU draft format in Dodrio and Archeops, so that's going to be a little bit difficult for us to try to take on, handle, however you guys want to put it. So yeah, that's first and foremost what we're going to have to try to deal with. And then Whimsicott is also incredibly annoying as well with Prankster. Now granted, I do have Guzzlord and Volibee who are both immune to Prankster, but unfortunately both are absolutely bopped by Moonblast and otherwise don't have a fantastic matchup, so I really can't take advantage of that as well. So Whimsicott's going to be annoying. However, I do have Garbodor and Venusaur, but again, Whimsicott can run different coverage moves in order to be able to take those guys out. Incineroar, not too big of a threat, but basically it comes down... well, Feraligatr is a threat if I let it get set up too much, but I do have Seismitoad plus enough speed control to be able to take care of that. Then the rest of his team is just kind of here and there. I think I can deal with it, but the main things that I'm worried about are Whimsicott, Dodrio, and Archeops, because those things are just gigantic threats to my team, and I don't have anything that can switch in, so the best thing I can do is just try to wear them down through passive damage, and then also Revenge Kill in certain situations. So yeah, but looking at my team, I am immediately noticing that while I don't have any flying switch-ins at all, he does not have any Electivire switch-ins, which, I mean, he has no ground types at all, meaning that Electivire is going to be an absolutely perfect mon to be able to try to revenge kill the Dodrio and Archeops. So immediately I'm thinking that Electivire is going to be very prominent in this matchup, particularly because if I Scarf it, it cannot be paralyzed or slowed down by Whimsicott if Whimsicott tries to go for like priority Stun Spore. I mean, that just doesn't work on Electivire, so I will guaranteed have my speed throughout the match, and then Electivire can also outspeed like +1 Feraligatr, potential Scarf Mesprit, stuff like that, so Electivire is going to be huge. Delphox, I mean, it can just fire off very powerful Fire Blasts, which, I mean, my opponent doesn't switch in well to. I mean, Thick Fat Hariyama or Assault Vest Incineroar, I'm thinking, are going to be his switch-ins, and then Hariyama does not like Psychic or Psyshock in this case. Incineroar, if it's Assault Vest, I have plenty of things to deal with that, so yeah, we're just going to go around the whole idea of Electivire, revenge killing, and potentially cleaning up, and just build the team around that. So first things first, we are going to have my Delphox. It is going to be modest because between, let's see, between 110 and 80, my opponent just doesn't really have anything in those speed tiers. Like, Mesprit, Feraligatr all hit that 80 speed tier, so I'm able to run Modest on Delphox, which allows me to hit a lot harder while only needing to invest enough speed in order to outspeed Feraligatr and the Mesprit. Like I said, max out the special attack to hit as hard as possible, and then just throw the rest into defense, because I'm thinking like Aqua Jet, Sucker Punch, or Quick Attack, while those can hit hard, potentially I might be able to live one from full HP, that type of thing. And then the set is going to be Sunny Day, Fire Blast, Psyshock, and Grass Knot with the Firium Z. I really like the Firium Z with this set because it gives me the option of sweeping late game by going for a Z Sunny Day and boosting my speed, or just to absolutely delete something by going for a Z Fire Blast for an Inferno Overdrive that will just destroy something. So gives me a couple options to work with. Psyshock is for the Hariyama in particular, because I'm thinking that like an Assault Vest Thick Fat Hariyama could be a perfect switch into like Specs Fire Blast. However, Psyshock will be able to hit it on its weaker defensive side, and also be able to hit Muck on its weaker defensive side as well for super effective damage. Then finally Grass Knot for the obvious Feraligatr, and really that's just it. It's just for Feraligatr. And so yeah, I mean, this Delphox can put in a lot of work if I can get it into the right situation, but unfortunately things like Dodrio, Archeops, and Tauros all outspeed it very easily, so I'm going to have to be careful with that. One of my defensive mons is going to be Seismitoad, as I do think rocks are absolutely essential in this match, as Incineroar, Dodrio, and Archeops all get hit super effectively by Stealth Rock, and then it is just nice for wearing down things like Whimsicott, Feraligatr, Mesprit, stuff like that. So having the ability to just get that passive damage on my opponents, particularly putting Dodrio and Archeops in range of Volt Switch, will be absolutely essential for this matchup. And also Seismitoad, Bold Seismitoad is just good for taking hits. Like I can switch it in to like a Scarf Dodrio potentially. I can take hits from Tauros, Hariyama. Basically, Seismitoad is just a very nice switch in, and also it takes on, with Water Absorb, is able to take on Feraligatr if it tries to set up with, I mean, leftovers obviously for longevity. The moveset is going to be Scald, Toxic, Earth Power, and Stealth Rock. Stealth Rock for the obvious passive damage. Scald, just a spammable move, maybe get a burn on something. Toxic is to guaranteed wear down things like, I guess, Mesprit, Hariyama, Whimsicott, like if I can get that on the switch. Different things like that. And then Earth Power is going to be for hitting Feraligatr harder, and also Toxic is for guaranteed passive damage on Feraligatr, because I don't want to have to rely on Scald getting the burn in order to win. I mean, it's like Scald obviously is a great secondary effect, like, and it's a very high chance of happening. However, if I just want to decide to wear down the Feraligatr, Toxic is there for me, and then Earth Power can wear it down as well. So Seismitoad will beat Feraligatr 1v1. Max out HP and defense so that I can take physical hits as well as possible, as I'm not really seeing too much of a special threat on his team. I mean, besides Whimsicott, but I can deal with that once it exhausts its Z move. And then 16 speed just to try to deal with any creeping that my opponent might try to do. Next up, we have a Garbodor with Rocky Helmet and Aftermath. Basically, this mon serves the purpose of trying to get rid of Whimsicott's Z move, like potentially Z Psychic, just like, okay, you'll have to use this to get rid of Garbodor, and then Venusaur can come in and wall the Whimsicott. And then also Rocky Helmet plus Aftermath just wear down the Dodrio and Archeops as they try to go for their Flying Stab and spam it against my team, just trying to get a little bit of drawback for them if they do go for that. Spikes for a little bit extra passive damage. I wanted Toxic Spikes, but he does have two grounded poison types who would completely nullify that. Stomping Tantrum is going to be the first move that I have on this Garbodor for attacking, and that is because I would think, well, before Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, Garbodor did not get any ground type coverage at all, so my opponent might try to switch in Skuntank to defog, get off damage, stuff like that. This way, Garbodor is able to hit that super effectively, and also, I mean, it's just a nice little stab type of attack. And then Gunk Shot, or not stab, sorry, I was looking at Gunk Shot already. But Stomping Tantrum is just nice for being able to deal with the two poison types that would normally try to switch into Garbodor, maybe absorb potential Toxic Spikes if I had that, or a Toxic, or take a Gunk Shot, that type of thing. And then speaking of the Gunk Shot, I do have that too, as it just hits his entire team neutrally except for Archeops and the aforementioned ground types, but the ground types are hit by Stomping Tantrum, and Archeops is just put that much closer to defeatist if I do go for the Gunk Shot and I have the chance to poison it as well. So the combination of those two moves is fantastic. And then also putting that with Toxic just for residual damage, I can guaranteed hit it on whatever my opponent has out, like maybe Hariyama, Incineroar, Feraligatr, those types of things that are trying to stay in and set up on Garbodor. And as for the investment, again, just completely physically defensive. I want to take as many hits as possible, make my opponent wear themselves down with the recoil from Rocky Helmet, Aftermath, and Brave Bird, or just like Rocky Helmet in Archeops' case, get it closer to Defeatist, and then 8 speed just to try to speed creep people, speed creeping me, just that type of thing. Next up, we have the most important member of the team for this matchup, and that is going to be Choice Scarf Electivire. Now, luckily, because of the speed tiers that I mentioned before, I am able to run Modest on Electivire, which helps a ton. Like, that helps out the calcs in insane amount of ways. I mean, the fact that I'm able to outspeed +1 for Alligator, Choice Scarf Mesprit, while still running Modest and being able to hit a lot harder, that helps so much. This thing, I'm not even in the battle yet, and I already know that it's going to be my MVP. Just because it's a perfect speed tier, it has perfect typing, like being able to Volt Switch, get momentum while hitting my opponent's Mons for some significant damage. Flamethrower, being able to hit the Whimsicott while also not being able to be paralyzed by Whimsicott. I know Electivire is going to be insanely valuable in this matchup. Volt Switch and Thunderbolt. Volt Switch is going to be the move that I'm clicking most of the time. That way I either get a kill on Archeops or Dodrio when they are in, or I get a heavy hit off and momentum on whatever my opponent switches in. Thunderbolt is just in case I need a little bit more damage. Flamethrower is for Whimsicott specifically, and that's really entirely for Whimsicott, but Whimsicott is enough of a threat that I will have to be able to take that thing on somehow. An Electivire with Modest is actually able to KO it 100% after a round or two of Stealth Rock, and even in some cases, like, it's a roll on no bulk Whimsicott to knock out with Flamethrower just after 1 Stealth Rock, so that is really, really nice. And then Psychic is for Hariyama as potential Assault Vest or Muck, stuff like that. Basically Hariyama, because, I mean, that thing could be Assault Vest, and I want to hit that a little bit harder than I would with Thunderbolt. Next up, we do have a Venusaur, and once again, I have no flying type switch-ins on my team, so I am forced to use Venusaur as a flying type switch-in. That's how poor my flying type resists are on this team, or just non-existent in this case. So I'm forced to use Cobra Berry Venusaur to try to just burn a Z-move potentially on Archeops. And fun fact, this Venusaur set actually takes a Jolly Sky Attack Z-move. So like a Jolly Supersonic Sky Strike with Sky Attack as the Z-move. With the Cobra Berry and at full health, this Venusaur takes it. So I thought that was a very, very interesting calc. But basically what this Venusaur is designed to do is, well, not switch in, because then that'd burn my Cobra Berry, but like come in on Archeops or the Dodrio, let them hit me with Acrobatics or Brave Bird, because I mean, I would think they would 100% stay in, thinking they have the chance to knock out Venusaur. I chew the hit and then get them low or knock them out with Sludge Bomb plus Giga Drain. I mean, basically that's all Venusaur is designed to do, and then I guess take hits from Feraligatr, maybe Feraligatr, Hariyama, Tauros potentially. I mean, but Tauros also carries Zen Headbutt, so that could be a little bit problematic. But one little bit of cool synergy that I have is Chlorophyll plus Sunny Day. This way, like, even I can just go for Sunny Day, and Venusaur will be able to outspeed the entirety of my opponent's team. Now, granted, that doesn't mean like it'll outspeed Scarf Dodrio, especially because I'm relaxed. I do need that little extra damage with Earthquake for Muck and Skuntank. But Sunny Day plus Chlorophyll from Venusaur, so yeah, I'm running a relaxed Chlorophyll Venusaur. You saw it here first, folks. Just basically, if Delphox isn't able to sweep, Venusaur might be able to come in and outspeed the stuff and get off 2 hits instead of 1 before going down. So that's kind of the crux of this set and the purpose of it. The moves, Sludge Bomb and Giga Drain dual stab. Sludge Bomb for hitting Dodrio harder, Giga Drain because Archeops actually resists Sludge Bomb, unfortunately, so I can also go for that against Feraligatr. And then Earthquake for Skuntank and Muck, both of whom are normally really good switch-ins. to Venusaur, as they do resist its dual stab and can threaten it with super effective moves. And then Synthesis, just for taking hits and recovering back to full health. The speed is to outspeed, basically just to speed tie with my Seismitoad, because I feel like my opponent would try to creep Seismitoad and in the process be able to creep Venusaur as well. So by speed tying my Seismitoad, who I already have speed creeping anyway, Venusaur is going to be able to outspeed some of the stuff that my opponent might have put on Venusaur. And finally, we have Zangoose. Now look at my opponent's team. Tell me what switches in to Facade. I know that Zangoose's speed tier isn't the best for his offensive threats like Whimsicott, Dodrio, and Archeops, and Tauros. Like I've named those things off like 5-6 times at this point. But Zangoose's speed tier was good enough to where I can outspeed the majority of his team, and he just does not have switch-ins to Toxic Orb boosted Facade. And then with the combination of Volt Switch into Toxic Orb, just Electivire being able to either take a knockout or hit something on the switch, I can bring in Zangoose for free, get my Toxic Orb, and kill something off, and then Quick Attack is good for just finishing stuff off. Now against his team, I really don't need anything besides Facade and Quick Attack, but I mean, I have 4 moves, so Swords Dance is there, even though I'm never going to use it in case I somehow am able to get a setup. But I mean, again, I'm never going to be able to Swords Dance on anything on his team. Like, I'll just be spamming Quick Attack or Facade, and then knock off just, I guess, if I want to knock off an item. But again, I'm only going to be clicking Facade or Quick Attack. Those are the only 2 attacks that Zangoose is going to be clicking in this matchup. Maybe if, like, my opponent's locked in to, like, I don't know, if Mesprit's locked into, like, I don't even know, like Ice Punch or something. Like, I don't even know. Like, I just cannot picture a situation where I would necessarily Swords Dance. But I mean, again, it's good to have just in case those situations come up. And yeah, pretty much summary of the team. Electivire and Zangoose are going to get the kills. That's pretty much it. So yeah, that's the team. Let's go ahead and hop right on over to the battle. Alrighty, here we are in the battle, and first thing I'm noticing is that he only brought 1 of the 2 birds, which is honestly a gigantic relief for me. I mean, to be fair, Dodrio and Whimsicott are still incredibly threatening. However, Dodrio will wear itself down with Brave Bird Recoil, because, I mean, that's going to be its main stab. Archeops would rely, well, I would have to rely on Rocky Helmet and also, you know, actually taking it down for it to wear itself down. But Dodrio will help me wear it down as well, because it is going to be going for Brave Bird as its main stab. And honestly, looking at his team, like, that's pretty much just going to be the premise of what is going to go on. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. I am going to lead with my Electivire, as I'm going to outspeed anything he wants to throw out there, even his potential Scarf or Whimsicott, which I'm thinking it's going to be Scarf Whimsicott. I really am. I'm not thinking that Tauros is going to be Scarfed, because, I mean, it needs to be able to switch up moves, and it also needs to be able to have Life Orb in order to deal with both, well, with all 3, Seismitoad, Garbodor, and Venusaur. So that being said, I am just going to switch right out into my Seismitoad. Honestly, like, I knew that Tauros wasn't going to be Scarfed, but why take a risk immediately turn 1 with something that can potentially win me the game and is something that is so incredibly vital for my ability to not only not lose, but to potentially win. So I'm going to switch into Seismitoad. Tauros is going to be revealed to be Life Orb like I expected. I still do not regret switching out and scouting out for the Scarf Earthquake, but here I am going to be able to get up my Roxas. I mean, Body Slam will probably 2-hit KO, but at least I get up Rocks for residual damage, and he reveals the Sunny Day. Now, yeah, there's really no other reason he would reveal Sunny Day on Tauros except if he has Solar Beam, so I'm not going to be dumb, and I'm not going to fall for that, so I'm just going to go immediately into my Venusaur, and oddly enough, Venusaur is actually going to be able to take advantage of the sun right here, even though it was not me that set it up. So Tauros is going to go for the Solar Beam. That does negative damage to my Venusaur. It actually does more damage to him because of his Life Orb. And so Venusaur is in right now and is able to just fire off a free Sludge Bomb. Hits the Hariyama, does not get the poison. However, that's not too big of a deal, and actually it's probably better for me that he didn't get poison, because then Guts might activate, even though I am thinking that this is going to be thick fat. But again, why worry about him hitting for extra damage? He's going to go for the knockoff, gets rid of my Rocky Helmet, which stinks a little bit, but what this does do is allows my Garbodor to not only be in, but I'm going to be able to get up a Spike as well. I still have the Aftermath for later to switch in to Dodrio and get knocked out, and my opponent makes a, well, I mean, he hits me with Earthquake. I mean, I reveal that I am faster, so I mean, that's good for me. And then my opponent's going to make a little bit of a misplay as he goes for Bullet Punch, and I live. Now, I was just leaving Garbodor in to get sacked at this point, as, okay, Earthquake will not activate Aftermath. I might as well just try to get a Gunk Shot off on this Hariyama and get some damage there. Just wear it down just a little bit more so that Electivire, even if this is Assault Vest, can take it out with a Volt Switch. But he does go for the Bullet Punch, and I live, as I'm able to get a Gunk Shot off on the Hariyama and put it down very, very low. Now, this gave me an opportunity that I would not have had otherwise. Hariyama is probably going to go for a Bullet Punch again. Now, I can just let this double down happen, but he is not going to let my Garbodor get another hit off, so I can guarantee he's going to go for the Bullet Punch, even if that means sacking his Hariyama. So I'm going to go straight into my Seismitoad, take the hit, and then knock this Hariyama out with an attack from me. As you can see, I actually recover health by him going for Bullet Punch, and even if he is Assault Vest this low, Hariyama is not going to be taking an Earth Power, so Seismitoad is able to just knock that thing out very easily, and I am up 6-5 with 2 layers of hazards on his side. Whatever he wants to go in, I should be able to respond to. However, this does give him the opportunity to go into Whimsicott, which he does take, and I'm not messing around with this thing. Seismitoad is way too important to just get rid of, so I'm going to go straight into my Venusaur as he goes for the Energy Ball. Now here, I make a gigantic misplay. For whatever reason, it crossed my mind that, oh, he's probably going to be running Z Hurricane in order to take out the Venusaur. Well, as soon as I clicked my move, like, he clicked his move as well, so as soon as the move started, I was like, wait, I have a Garbodor and a Venusaur. He's going to be Z-Psychic. Like, that's... I should not have versed my Venusaur right there, and lo and behold, he has Z-Psychic. Venusaur goes down. Very, very dumb play on my part. So I lose Venusaur for literally no reason at all. I lose a check to Dodrio, something to just fire off Sludge Bomb. So I mean, like, Venusaur wasn't going to be super helpful, but at the same time, I didn't need to just sack it off. Although, to be fair, what else was I going to go into? So Venusaur unfortunately has to bite the dust right there, but this does give me a free switch into my Electivire, and I will be given the opportunity to go for a modest Flamethrower. He does last-ditch effort defog. Good play by him, but Flamethrower is going to knock him out. The crit did not matter at all. I am modest Electivire with Flamethrower, and that is very offensive Whimsicott. Like, he... unless some wizardry happened with the calcs, he would not have been able to survive that. I mean, again, modest Flamethrower from Electivire, so I take out Whimsicott, which is a huge, huge, huge threat down. And I'm actually looking to be in a pretty good spot. Now, unfortunately, this does give him a chance into, or this does give him a free switch into Incineroar, but I am going to sack off my Garbodor, get some Aftermath damage off on this Incineroar, no matter what it goes for. But he does switch into Dodrio and then knocks me out with Return, which is beautiful for me, because, I mean, I get damage off that I want to, and now that he went for Return, I have a free switch into my Electivire. I know I'm not going to go down to a Return, or a Choice Scarf Return at that, and if he's banded, I will outspeed that. So this is a free Volt Switch for me, as he's going to go into his Mesprit. So I'm going to be able to get a little bit of damage, and actually that chunk is very, very nice. And at this point, I'm going into Zangoose, I'm getting my Toxic Orb, and I'm getting my kill. Scarf Mesprit will not be able to knock me out, as you can see, and granted, he could have flinched with Zen Headbutt, which would have sucked, but he doesn't get it, so Mesprit is going to go down. His Scarfer is gone, which tells me that Incineroar and Dodrio both are very likely not Scarfed, so Electivire is the fastest Mon left, and I'm in a very good spot. Now, unfortunately, because Zangoose is a little bit low, Dodrio is going to come back out and be able to pick up a KO, and I'm just going to sack off Delphox. I feel like Delphox, I mean, even though I do have my Z-move, isn't going to be doing a whole lot, but he goes for the Quick Attack instead of the Return, I guess not wanting to take the Quick Attack damage on Dodrio, but Zangoose really wasn't, like, I guess I don't need Dodrio to be at that low of a health. It's already in range of Volt Switch at this point, so because I do live a Quick Attack, and that reveals to be a banded Dodrio, I'm just going to go for my Z Fire move and either hit Incineroar incredibly hard or kill something. So Did not end up going for Z Sunny Day, as he still had the Incineroar, which would have been able to stop any sweep, but I do get rid of the Tauros, which is incredibly nice for me. Now he's going to go into his Incineroar, and I'm just going to try to get this thing low into Electivire range if he is Assault Vest, which he doesn't look to be. I don't know, I didn't count the damage, I just saw that it did enough. And he's actually Flame Charge, which is a very cool set. However, unfortunately for him, the second Flame Charge puts me in Blaze, which hits the Incineroar and puts it in range of a quick attack from my Zangoose. So Incineroar, I mean, Delphox got a kill and put Incineroar low enough to where Zangoose would be able to pick it off at this point. But now that Incineroar is down, even if he knocks me out with his Dodrio, which he probably will, Electivire is going to live every hit. I'm going to be able to knock out this Dodrio with a Thunderbolt, and Electivire is going to be able to clean up the game. So that was... I mean, it ended up 2-0 in my favor, but that was just such a back-and-forth match. I mean, his threats were crazy. I mean, Dodrio is obviously a gigantic threat. Whimsicott was able to catch me off guard, even though I really should have seen that coming. That was just a stupid move by me at that point. But, I mean, Delphox actually did something, even though I really wasn't expecting it to do a whole lot. And, yeah, that ended up being the game. So we're now 2-0 in this NU League, and let's just hope that this trend can continue in the upcoming weeks. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, and this is Styx signing out. Why not? See you guys.